If you prefer simple systems, the Kuiu Ranger 2200 might be the perfect whitetail hunting pack for you, but it does have one limitation that you should know about before you go out and purchase it. All right, so there was like one hunt where the Kuiu Ranger was not enough. This is the 2200, just to be super clear in case you're watching this down the road and they have other sizes. I'll get to that in a little bit, but first, let me give you an overview of how we got to this point. I have a initial thoughts video on this that I recorded last year before the season when I got this. I'm not gonna repeat too much of that, but this pack, unlike a lot of other packs, follows the KISS methodology, keep it simple, stupid, right? Which is, it doesn't have a ton of pockets. It's got a couple big pockets, which actually oddly makes it easier to organize in my opinion. It has this beautiful colorway of olive drab green and tan. Not gonna lie, I might have bought it partly for the color. To be clear, I was looking at it well before I saw this colorway. But anyway, because it's got just a few pockets, it's actually easy to find what you need because you're not like opening and closing a million zippers and flaps. And I found it even in the dark, it was super easy to just like be like, okay, that's in that pocket. Oh, I got it. Cool, right? Nothing to it. It works really well. Other packs I've had, even a couple other Kuiu packs, just start to get like to have a lot of like zippers. Seems to be the trendy thing. And I ranted on that in my first video, so I'll keep myself from doing it here. It definitely does encourage discipline in packing, but it's a 2200, so it's got space and it's got a lot of lash points, as you can see. So you can really get a lot into this bag and onto this bag, which is primarily how I used it, which was saddle hunting for whitetails. I have my sticks, my platform on here. Sometimes I'd even clip my saddle on top of my sticks and platform so that I didn't need it around my waist if I was tired or if I was going through, I spent a lot of time like blackberry patches this year at the edges of those and stuff, and my saddle just gets like all caught up in that. So sometimes it was actually easier to like strap that to the back and not deal with it getting all snagged on things. Additionally, I also would always have my kill kit in here, extra water, snacks, a book or two, my GoPro and other camera gear, and it held all that just fine. Frankly, in Tennessee, it never got that cold during this last hunting season. Man, maybe like once or twice I actually brought my like true heavy weather gear. The majority of the time I did not. But when I go out in public, so if I'm not like on my property here and I'm going to go in public, I always take my puffy stuff anyway. And so that actually packed really nice into here. My big, really heavy, like stand sitting heavy gear probably wouldn't fit in here so well. I actually ran into that. That is part of the limitation I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But aside from that one little issue, I never had an issue with capacity with this pack at all. In fact, I usually had too much. You can see I've got like, I don't know, I had a lot of space in here. At the moment, I just have it packed for like long range shooting on my 300-yard range, but it definitely has room for like a lot more than I have in it at the moment. It could be really stuffed, frankly. So for like a mobile hunter, it really fit my use case well. It's not too heavy at just over 4 pounds. The straps are quite comfortable and very adjustable. I definitely liked the hip pockets, being able to have things like right at my hips. I actually lower the saddlebags on my saddle so that I can still use a hip pouch a hip belt, because I like hip belts for support, and I like having the pockets there on the hip belt that Kuiu builds in. Before I keep going, if you appreciate structured all-season reviews like this one, where I don't just be like, oh hey, check out this thing and buy it, it's cool, but I actually tell you how it works for me and even the things I don't like, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks. So for all the hunting I did in Tennessee, the Kuiu Ranger 2200 was perfect. I have no issues with it. I really don't have any issues with it at all. I should watch my words here. The one time it failed me, I went back to Pennsylvania, where I'm from, and it was early December. I swear to God, it was literally 0 a few of the mornings I was out. And I went back like to hunt primarily. I wanted like one last good hunt in my favorite spots. So I was stuffing like my First Light core jacket and bibs into this, my jet boil, my extra waters, my food. And I'm like, yeah, this is gonna fit, this is gonna fit. And then I'm like trying to zip it up and it wasn't fitting. And I'm like, you know, I have a Kuiu Divide 3000 literally for doing stuff like this. So I unpacked this whole bag and I packed it all into the Divide. It was not a big deal, but it did show me, you know, what is to be expected, that a 2200 bag does eventually have its capacity limitations. Now that was for like 5 days of hunting in ridiculously cold temperatures, and I knew I was going to be like out and in deep, not coming back to my truck. So I was bringing the jet oil, you know, food, water, caffeine, all sorts of stuff. So that exceeded what this pack was going to work for. Thankfully, I had another pack I could quickly switch into. Unless you are doing that type of hunting a lot, this pack is going to work great for you. And I want to be really clear, like, that's not a design flaw. It's nothing wrong with this pack. It's just the inherent nature of a smaller pack. when you get into carrying lots of stuff. I expected it, but I was hoping I could still get away with it because frankly, I like this pack better. There's nothing wrong with the 3000 Divide. This one's more comfortable, and I just didn't think I was going to need that extra capacity, but by the time you add it all up, I just did, right? Before I wrap up, if you work in a business in the firearms, hunting, or outdoors industries and you want your gear reviewed like this, there's a link in my description, and click that. You can read about my review process, and you can fill out a form, get in contact with me, and we'll see if it makes sense to work together. Final thoughts, Kuiu Ranger 2200. This is for saddle hunters and day hunters, guys who want a lot of capacity, even might pack meat out, but don't want like the biggest thing on the market, and they also want a very easy and secure way to lash their sticks and platforms. It's definitely a great pack to cover an entire season, unless you live someplace that's really cold. If you do, you're either going to need to switch packs or this is not the right pack for you. I have done the whole switching pack things every year when I lived in Pennsylvania. I don't love it. And actually living in Tennessee, aside from having to switch to go to Pennsylvania and come back, I really liked that I just ran the same pack all season. That was actually quite nice. But if you're a type of guy who's like, nope, I'm running one pack all year, well, you know, if you're in a cold weather environment, this is probably not big enough. If you're in Tennessee, somewhere in the Mid-South, somewhere in the, I want to say Midwest, because the Midwest can get really cold, but someplace where the temperatures don't get retarded during hunting season, this could work really well for you. My favorite feature after using it for a whole season continues to be just how simple it is. I like there's only a few pockets. I like that it's easy to find and organize things. And I like that there's no nonsense. It's just super straightforward design. So at the end of a full season, the Kuiu Ranger 2200 worked perfectly in every way that I had hoped. And everything I said in that first video where I just overviewed it did work out as well as I had expected it to. The only time it let me down was when I needed more capacity than the 2200 actually has to offer, which is not a problem of the 2200. It's just a problem of all the stuff I needed to take for those couple hunts. It served me really well, and I can highly recommend it if you're considering it for saddle hunting or day hunting as well. If you want to see a video on the saddle hunting gear that I'm using, I'll link one at the end of this video. You'll see it in just a second. Go ahead and watch that next, especially if you're interested in the Latitude Outdoors gear. Thanks so much for watching.